All right, guys, what is up? Welcome back to another GeoGuessr video. Um, so a bit of an issue on this one. I forgot to record the audio for my mic when I was recording these videos, but we're gonna do it in post. So I have my face cam here talking over it, but we do get Ziggy to start off. Um, we start on round one here. We get a pretty straightforward UK. I think the houses are a bit weird here. I think I make a brief comment on that in the game, but I just clicked Oxford here, and it was actually out near Minehead there. So a bit further west, but we are a little bit closer, so 12 points of damage. Round two. Looks like we do have a Australia here, and I believe this one is Tasmania. It is a bit harder to see, but the trees definitely look a bit more southern, I'd say, and I do get a little bit closer there once again. So we pick up 21 more points there in round two. Round three, moving into it here. We do get a pretty straightforward Bangladesh. Something about this coverage just screams it, and we do have 22 copyright. So I just click downtown Dhaka, and it actually just ends up being on the outskirts there. So we are a little bit closer. And Ziggy sends me the exploding head emoji, of course. So round four here. Let's see what we can cook. All right. This one, I am a little bit confused. I think initially, to me, like the pavement, the road is kind of shoddy. So I do believe I make a comment and I say, this looks like Ukraine. But then I looked at the copyright and it was like 21, I would say. I think Ukraine usually has like an older copyright because it is perennially stuck in Gen 3, so they're not really making updates to it. So it's like either 2019 or like 2015 or something like that. So it does make sense that it was Russia, and we both make the blunder and go Ukraine there. But we move it around five. And this one, also a bit weird. I think I have trouble placing it, but I think eventually we do go into the map here, and we do end up clicking Lithuania because I do see a Lithuanian pole top in the distance there. And with 23 copyright, I do mention that it does make sense for it to not be like winter coverage. So Lith can look like very spring summer coverage or whatever that is there. So it makes sense. All right, this one, thick lines. We have a black back of sign. I think with this this landscape, it definitely looks a bit more eastern to me, and that's why I clicked near Galati in that area. But it just ends up being on the Danube, which makes sense with the hilliness, but yeah, just a bit unlucky there. We both decided to go for the same click, of course, as we move into round seven. And we do get 2021 copyright. Looks like a wintry looking round. So I click like Veroshneth, and I'm hedging for Saratov here because we have some like birches. Doesn't look super south. We wouldn't have these trees south where you would get this winter coverage. So I just click there, and ends up being a bit more western there, actually, in Smolensk Oblast. And Ziggy's a little bit closer as we move into round eight. Triple damage. And debating on this one for a long time. So just explaining my thought process here, looking through it. We do have the back of the car here, it looks like, if we are driving right, which I would presume we are with some of these thatched roofs. These feel more Latin American to me. Driving on the right, I wouldn't say we have that distinct like boxy car blur that we would for Guatemala, even though it does kind of look like Guatemala. So I think I just make the conclusion with the rock wall here, with the hilliness, I just go Chiapas Tabasco border. Makes some sense to me with these thatched roofs. I know these would probably be more Yucatan Peninsula. You can see me circling like most of Mexico here. I don't think we would get this green of a landscape where it looks like this in Colo, especially with thatched roofs like this. So Mexico made the most sense to me. Throw a little question mark in there. I'm a little bit nervous, but yeah. We do end up sending this one in, I do believe, in a bit. I think also, like, thinking about it, like, there are some hills in, like, Campeche or, like, Curu on the Guatemala border, so I could have considered that, especially with the rock wall there. But yeah, just ends up being right on that border there. And yeah, Ziggy ends up going Guatemala, and hits me with the question mark thing. But yeah, not too happy about that one, obviously, but it does happen. And okay, this one also a little bit of a tougher round. We do have a red back of car here. So I do make note of that. Initially, my thought was Bulgaria, but after looking at the copyright 2021, I make the conclusion that this road feels more Russian, like the fence does as well on the left there. So I think I do end up considering, does Caucasus have red car? I don't think it does really. So the next best thing was Krasnoyarsk Hills for me. And I do mention this in the video. Obviously, didn't record the audio for it, which is tough. And I said Krasnoyarsk. I'm not sure why I click where I click, because Ziggy ends up being way closer here, and it does end up being a big chunk of damage on 3x. But yeah, not sure where I'm clicking right now. I think I was hedging for like Novo and like Tomsk, but I don't know if it would get this hilly where this coverage would be there. So yeah, I should have just went downtown, especially with this big property here. I feel like we wouldn't just get this in like a random rural city, in the middle of like Tomsk and like Kraz. So yeah, just a little bit of a troll guess for me, and it just ends up being Kraz. So yeah, does make some sense. Ziggy gives me the question mark once again, and he is closer, of course, but we move into 4x damage, round 10. And yeah, this one, not really too much to say about it. Looks Nordic, of course, with these pines. But it's hard to say as to whether this is Sweden or Finland. It does seem a bit more hilly. So I just decided to opt for the water hedge here. And I was like, yeah, I don't think we can really lose here unless it's like near Oslo border of Norway, or like all the way up there, and he somehow region guesses it. So I felt like the hedge was the best decision, and yeah, it does end up paying off because it ends up being Finland actually, and he's in Sweden. So we're pretty much even on points here as we move into round 11, 4.5x damage. And yeah, this round, the pavement was very speckled. I thought, maybe Spain or France here was my first thought. But like France made a bit more sense to me, especially with that fence there. Felt a bit more like Alpine-ish. So I end up going France here, and it ends up being like a weird Alpine, like slightly Alpine-ish, Italy. So yeah, he goes with my other thought there in Spain, but it ends up being Italy, bit of a weird one. But we end up winning off of that, which doesn't feel like particularly great, but I guess we'll take the win at the end of the day. As we do get another opponent, and it's going to be Debre, everybody's favorite World Cup participant. Absolute, firecracker on the desk. He brings definitely a lot of personality, and I love that. All right, this one, we're starting off with Botswana here. I thought, it felt more northern, but, I should probably learn the country. But, yeah. I mean, I mentioned how based his guess is because he's just clicking on label, which I love. I'm all for that because, Botswana, kind of sleeper, in my opinion. But, yeah, we move into round 2 here. We do get a Turkey. I think I do say in the video that this could be, near Syria border because of, I don't know. It just looks very dry. But I end up clicking Kayseri here, and I believe he does as well. So we're kind of just hedging, and it was near Syria border. So a little bit unfortunate. Could have went with the gut, but didn't result in too many points there. So we start off pretty strong here going into round 3. And we do get a Canada here. So my initial thought was Ontario, but looking at some of these pines and some of the houses, it felt like more of a maybe Manitoba or North Manitoba thing. But yeah, maybe just a little bit troll from my part because yeah, I don't know if it would be this green and non-swampy there. So yeah, I don't know why I clicked where I clicked, but we ended up committing, and actually just ends up being northern, northeastern Ontario, which does make sense. We had stop on the sign, and no French on the stop sign, so yeah, does make sense that it was near border there. It is pretty flat up in that area, as we do get a Kenya here. I can't really see the follow car, but yeah, just this big blur does indicate that we have car meta. I think you can see a little bit of car meta also poking out on the bottom left of the car there, the gray. Um, so yeah, I'm not really sure where to go here. Kenya's not one of my strong countries. I definitely do need to practice, but it's not that high priority on my list. Like, I'm thinking like it could be near Lodwar, but it could also be like in this area here. Maybe the redder soil should push me a bit further west there, but that's okay. We end up getting a little hedge going and only lose 134 points of damage, so not the worst result as we move into round 5. And this one, yeah, I'm just seeing a lot of these coastal like pines that you would get in like Baltics as well as Sweden or Finland. I think with the dirt road here and the way the road is made, I usually lean more Baltic here. So I end up clicking just Latvia here to hedge because there's no real poles or signs or anything that's telling me which particular Baltic it is. And it just ends up being Estonia. So we are slightly closer there. We do pick up some points, 596 points of damage. But yeah, not going to be enough against Debre, of course. A very, very good player. As yeah, we just get a straightforward Poland here. Double white lines. We have this really Polish sidewalk that I'm highlighting here with like the vertical brick that goes like pretty much in the way that you would walk. And yeah, we just both go for Widge here. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing that, but yeah. Just middle Poland, of course, as we move into round 7. And this one, it does seem very, very flat, but I do notice 2023 copyright, and it does seem like it could be Germany. And I do say, oh, this kind of looks like Netherlands, but it's probably Germany here with this pavement style. So I end up hedging like Hanover to hedge for like the northern part of Germany, but it just ends up being like northwest corner, which makes a lot of sense with the pavement and stuff. Kind of wish I had committed there and gotten a good guess off, but I think the risk was maybe a bit too high as we move into round 8. And let's see what we can do. We do get another Kenya follow car here, so this one's pretty straightforward. We get more red soil. So yeah, I'm going a bit further west, kind of learning from my mistakes there. And I think this one ends up actually being quite close to where the last one was. If I'm not mistaken here, let's see. Let's find out. As yeah, it was pretty much a little bit south of where it was initially, but we move into round 9 here. As we do get what looks like a US to me. Not really getting a particular vibe from this one. Like, it's Gen 3. It's like kind of almost autumn coverage, I would say. But yeah, I kind of just click like Indiana here, looking kind of Midwest. But yeah, Debre absolutely cooks us here with a great region guess in Missouri. And it ends up being Missouri as well, right on the Oklahoma border. So great guess from Debre. And we lose a big chunk of points there. As moving around 10, quad damage, like multis against Debre, not somewhere that I particularly love to be. As we do get what looks like a Russia to me. It's quite hilly. We got some autumn coverage here. And then these like little, I would say Christmas tree style trees. Does seem like around that Moscow area. So I do end up clicking like Oriol here. I do highlight that it could be near Nizhny, but I kind of like my guess more because it is autumn coverage and it is a bit more hilly. And yeah, it just ends up being a bit of an unfortunate one because it does end up being Lithuania hilly. So yeah, just a tough one there. As we lose 14 rating for that one, but we're going to hit play again. And of course, you guys know we're going to run into Debre once again. So round 1. Let's see how we can do. I don't feel too bad about how I played in that last game. Didn't like love it, but I don't feel too bad about it. As we do get a Chile here. White line in the middle. Sun is very clearly in the northern part. And like I end up hedging a bit more down here because like these trees, like it looks like they would grow something like this near Ovalle, which is north of Santiago area. But yeah, I didn't expect them to be growing it that far north. Agriculture-wise, I don't know, like, but yeah. All right, we do have a bog pole here. Very Bulgarian-looking pavement as well, like kind of speckled, but like, I don't know. There's like tracks where your tires would go, basically, and it's a bit lighter there, or whatever. But yeah, it just ends up being on the Black Sea coast, so no points there. So we start off strong. Um, but yeah, just ramping up the multis against Debray, always not good, basically. All right, so these trees are obviously making me think more north once again. In Russia, it is Gen 4 winter coverage once again. So we'll see where we go here. And we just click near Tambov here. And it was a bit more north near Ryazan. So he is a bit closer as we lose 171 points of damage. And we move into round 4. And we do have a Manitoba here, I do believe, or something of the like. I think it was Sask, actually. But yeah, I end up clicking like a bit. I was in Sask originally, and then I decided to move to Alberta because of maybe all of these pines and the way the road looks, but I should have stayed in Sask. Like, it's not the best hedge, and it was Manitoba, actually, so. Yep, it's a bit unfortunate there. We had no front on the car as well, so I think that's also partially why I went where I went, but yeah. We move into round 5. All right, so I mean, this one, we do have, looks like we're driving right, but it's really, really hard to tell because the left side of the road is really shoddy. I just took it to assume that we're driving on the right because it looks like the guy behind us is also driving on the right. Soil's really red. I don't know if they grow banana plants on Palawan, but that was the best thing that I could muster here. It didn't really look like Latin America to me. So yeah, I end up clicking Palawan. We both do, actually. And it ends up being near Lao border, which does make some sense with the red soil and stuff, but yeah, we're both a little bit confused by that one as we move into round 6, double damage. And we do get, like, you know, some Brazil-style plates here, these longer plates. And I end up just clicking near Piranha here because I can see, like, what kind of looks like a Piranha Pine in the background. And the road is a bit red as well. Like, it's a bit more red. So I would, like, kind of put us near Panhandle here, and that's kind of why I clicked where I clicked. So I do think, like, if I had to go back, yeah, I do like my guess here, and it just ends up being right over the state border in Santa Catarina there. So we do pick up a good guess as we move into round 7. All right, this one here, we are driving on the right, and we do have a Polish sign there in the distance, that Polish yield sign. So yeah, we just go Widge again. And he ends up going Warsaw, and it's just in the middle of us. So he's a little bit closer, but no big points lost. As we move into round 8, triple damage. And yeah, we do have a, like, what looks like a Russian marker, a Russian bollard on the left here, like a makeshift one. And the trees are giving me, like, very, like, Finland vibes-ish. So I end up clicking, like, northeast of St. Petersburg here, and I move it a bit more up. And yeah, he just knows the road here. So just a little bit unfortunate that he knows that general area. Tough one. But we do lose 900 points of health there. But I am quite happy with my guess because Russia isn't, like, one of my stronger countries. All right, this one here, we do have, I know I mentioned, like, with a lot of rock walls and stuff, I think it does make sense to go closer to Syria, Gaziantep area, something like that. So yeah, I do just click Gaziantep here. And yeah, I mean, we both do. And it ends up being a bit more east, closer to Batman. But yeah, that general area does make sense when you get a lot of rock walls. So that's why we both end up committing where we did. Round 10, quadruple damage. This one, so the temporary, like, that looks like a temporary sign there on the right, with a black back. So that the black back can only occur in a few countries that have Gen 4, mainly Romania and Italy. Like, Albania would have it as well, but we don't have Gen 4 there. But yeah, I was just a bit confused by this one. Like, I chose to ignore the black back assign when I really shouldn't have. And yeah, just ends up being a pretty clear Romania here looking back at it. But I mean, just a skill issue on my part, I think, choosing to ignore the sign. And we do lose once again to Debray. Now we're below 1700 rating. But we're going to queue up one more time. Going to be our last game here. And we, of course, get Debray once again on a 3 winning streak. And we move into round 1 here. Very red soil, just looking like maybe Mississippi Delta or like something more south here, especially with these southern pines. So like Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia here, and it does end up being Georgia. And he is in northern Alabama. I do like his guess, like with all the hills that we had. It does make some sense, but yeah. Just ends up being Georgia there, right on the South Carolina border. As we move into round 2 here. All right, so this round was a lot of deliberation. I will say, I think I initially just zoom in immediately, like, oh, this is that area west of Almería here, like with all of these greenhouses and the big mountain to the north. I think it made too much sense to go there. I think the pole in the distance, you can see like a weird transformer, and like the pole maybe looks like South American. Like it could have like an indent or something like that. Be a bit wider at the base. I just thought it was a weird pole for Spain. But I think the with the sun being somewhat south, although it's hard to trust sometimes, I would say, and the like big dry mountain north, I kind of decided, yeah, I'm gonna commit to Andalusia here. So it does make too much sense to me, and yeah, it does end up being there. And Debray understandably goes Chile, which I think makes a lot of sense as well, because like the pole, if you can see it, is a little bit sussy. I will say that. And we move in round 3. So we are at a pretty big lead here, as we do get a Mexico here. And it kind of looks just like Durango or like this area here with all of these like very dry looking hills. So I just end up clicking like east of Torreon here. And yeah, we're somewhat close. But Debray is as well. So no points, really, on that one. As we move into round 4, let's see what we can get. And what appears to be a Sweden there. Pretty clear. Red car with these dashes should only really be Sweden with this landscape as well. And the house to me feels a bit more southern. Like we got some pines as well. Pretty tall trees, and it just ends up being max south. So wish I had committed a bit more there, but it's okay. We're not on multis, so it's round 4. And now we finally do move into multis in round 5, so let's see what we can get. And we do get New Zealand here. Not really sure where to go. I didn't really get too much of a read from this one. Big blur there. I think that's just it not loading in one patch of the image. But whatever. I mean, I just click in the middle. And it just ends up being like north of Christchurch. So he does pick up some damage there. But he is on like sub 1k HP. So hopefully we can close this one out. Move into round 6. Pretty clear Switzerland here. Very clear low cam. And yeah, just looks like one of the bigger cities with some of these houses. So I just click Lucerne. And I think it ends up being Zurich, and it does. And yeah, we are closer there. We do 378 points of damage. We have Debray on the ropes here, finally, on the 3rd game. So round 7. And yeah, this is looking quite identical to that other round that we had. Maybe the soil's not as red here. But yeah, I think I just end up clicking. I was like, yeah, I can just hedge one like side of where the potential location could be, because we don't really have any risk here on 2.5x damage and him being so low. So yeah, we just had Eastern Alabama there, Alabama-Georgia border, and it ends up being in Georgia. So we kind of swap guesses there a little bit from that last round. But yeah, we end up winning. So do get some elo back. Got 21 for that, and we're up to 17-16. So we end there. And I wanted to take a quick look at that that Spain round and check that one out. So looking at it, and we're going to move. Yeah, with the mountain there, I'm explaining like how it makes so much sense that, you know, these greenhouse things or whatever they are here. And yeah, it does end up just being a ladder pole. which is kind of weird, to be completely honest with you, because like it did look like it got thicker at the bottom, but it does make sense that like I can totally see that being like a Chile indented pole or something, but it just ends up being like a ladder pole that's facing the road for some reason. So yeah, I mean, we end on 1716. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. See ya.